Hey, how's it going, kids? This is Dr. Callahan. How are you doing? Welcome to week 11, Wednesday. I hope you guys had a good day off on Tuesday. So go ahead and take a look at your one block, pause it, and answer the following three questions. All right, so with the brain teaser, you're asked to see how many triangles there are here. And I know a lot of you guys might say 9, but there are actually 13. You have to remember of the overlapping triangles as well, in addition to the big one right there. So your total should be 13. Don't forget the 3 overlapping, the big triangle, and then the 9 individual smaller triangles. All right, we talked about elimination last time, so I want to make sure we take this time to talk about this question here from your warm-up. So remember, if you look at this, you just cross the y out because it's a positive 5 and a negative 5. That gives you a 5x. 11 plus 4 is a 15. Divided by 5 on both sides, you get a 3. So once you have the 3, you have to find y. So then you pick an equation to find y. I'm just going to go ahead and pick the first one because it's the first one. It's just there. It doesn't matter which one you pick, you still have the same answer. So 2x plus 5y equals 11. You know that x is 3, so 2 times 3 is 6. Minus 6 on both sides, you get 5y equals 5. And when you divide it by 5 on both sides, y equals 1. So your answer here is 3, 1. Now, if you take a look at the second question right here, you should notice you're like, uh-oh, wait a second. There is nothing here that I can cancel. It's not like there is a positive 5 and a negative 5. I just don't have that here. So with this example, you will have to do one extra little step. And that is to make either an x and a y the same number. So I know I can make y into an 8 if I multiply this 2 by a 4. So I'm going to multiply everything by 4. So my new equation is 4x minus 8y equals 12. And then make sure you just convert your first equation up. 4x plus 8y equals 9. Okay, and then looking at this part right here, you're going to go ahead and cancel them. So we're going to go ahead and cancel the 8, but then in the process, do you see how the 4s also cancel? So essentially we have here 0x plus 0y equals 21. So your answer in this case is going to end up as a no solution. But today we're going to be working more with questions that looks like this. So that way you guys get some additional practices. Okay, last time I saw you guys, we went over these 4 questions. You did your storyboard. You also had a turkey here. So let's go ahead and take a look at the breakdown for today. So today we're going to do a categorization where I'm going to give you a bunch of questions and you're going to tell me which method are you going to use. And remember, there are 3 methods. First one is solving by graphing. Second one is solving by substitution. And the third one is solving by elimination. We're going to go over my notes in class, justifying which method to use when solving systems. I'm going to fill out a table of advantages and disadvantages. And then I have a Quizlet practice for you guys to do. And that will be it. So with that said, let's turn to this page on week 11. And actually, when you turn onto this page, it's going to be week 11. And you should be able to find this on Tuesday. So make sure you turn onto this page right here. This is what we're going to start off with first. All right. So first things first, I'm going to have you guys categorize certain things into systems of equation. So here I have a bunch of questions. And your job is to look at these questions and go, where should I put these questions? Should I solve this equation, for example, by graphing, substitution or elimination. Because if you look at the way that it's set up, there's obviously a preferable way of solving them. And here are the rules. If both of our equations are y equals mx plus b, this is called slope-intercept form, then by all means, you should go ahead and solve by graphing. On the other hand, if you have something like x equals 2x plus 1, 3x plus 4y equals 2, but you do have 1 solved in y, then you should solve by substitution. Now, if both of your equations are in standard form, like 3x plus 3y equals -4, and nothing is solved, then you should go ahead and solve by elimination. So what I want you guys to do right now is pause the video and write these equations that I'm circling under either graphing, substitution, or elimination. So pause the video and do that. Okay, so looking at this, did you get it correct? And if you look at everything that is in substitution, notice that at least either the x or the y is solved. Here's y equals 7, here's y equals 4x. Here you have x equals 4y minus 2. So that's a pattern of all the substitution problems. Now, you do use graphing if both have y equals. You see how all of these have y equals, y equals, y equals, y equals, then you should solve this one by graphing. Now, if both you have x and y on the left side, this is called standard form, then you should solve by elimination. xy, 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 xy. And that is the pattern of how you determine which of the three methods you use to solve. All right, let's go ahead and go to the notes today. Let's take a look at the first question. Here you see how it's y equals mx plus b. So both equations are in y-intercept form. You want to do this one by graphing. You don't want to substitute and you don't want to eliminate. So let's go ahead and do that. First equation, you start at 1. Up 3 over 1, 1, 2, 3 over 1, 1, 2, 3 over 1. You can go down 1, 2, 3 over to the left one, and then draw your straight line. Next, what you're going to do is you're going to graph the second part. Start at 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is a -1 over 1. So you go down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1. And this is your line right here. So your point of intersection is right here, and that is at a 1, 4. 1, 4. So now what I want you to do is do a reflection for question number 1, which says, which method is the easiest? Justify your reason. Which method do you think will be the hardest? Would it be substitution or elimination if the format of your question looks like this? Plus justify your reasoning. So take a moment and go ahead and answer those questions. Here are my responses. I said solve by graphing because both equations are solved for y equals mx plus b, so I can just graph them and find the point of intersection. I think solving by elimination will be the hardest because both equations are not in standard form, which is like this, and it is not easy to cancel on x or y. Let's go on to question number 2. Question number 2, here we go. Take a look at the way the problem is set up. Here you have x equals y plus 1. So you have one of the variable is solved. So probably not graphing, because remember, graphing has to be y equals and y equals. Probably not elimination, because elimination has to be in standard form. And standard form is having the x and y together on the left side. And so for only this one is like that. So I'm probably going to do substitution. I'm going to take the x, put it right here for the x right there. And then what's going to end up happening is I'm going to have 2 times y plus 1 plus y equals 5. Now distribute the 2. So you have 2y plus 2 plus y equals 5. Combine your like terms. You have a 2 and a 1, which is a 3y plus 2 equals 5. Go ahead and subtract the 2 on both sides. So 5 minus 2 is a 3. Divide by 3 by both sides, y equals 1. If you have the y, you have to go ahead and find the x. And with the x, I'm going to use the first equation right there, which says x equals y plus 1. So 1 plus 1 is 2. And my answer is 2, 1. And that's what you do. Now I'm going to have you go ahead and answer the following question. Which one did you feel was the easiest? Which one did you feel was the most difficult method? So pause the video and answer that, please, on your guided notes. And here are my responses. I thought the easiest one was substitution because you already have the x equaled and solved. And the hardest one, in my opinion, was probably going to be by solving by graphing because neither of the equations are in y equal form. So you will have to solve for y on both. So that would take a little bit of work. All right, let's go on to the last example. So looking at problem number 3, notice that both of the equations are in standard form, which is 8x plus by equals c. So probably not graphing because you will have to solve for y. Probably not substitution because you will have to have either an x equals or a y equals. And most likely it's just going to be elimination. So with this one, you got to ask yourself, which one am I going to cancel, x or y? Well, I see that the y, there's a negative 2y right here. So I would need to make the top one with a 2 as well. So I'm going to multiply by a 2 on the top on everything. So my new equation is a 6x plus 2y equals 8. And then I can cross out the 2y because it just cancels. 6 plus 1 is 7. 8 plus 6 is a 14. And when you divide it by 7, x equals 2. So if you have x equals 2, that means you need to find y. Well, you can pick an equation as to which one you want to use. Let's go ahead and pick the second one because we always use the first one. So with the second equation, you have x minus 2y equals 6. Well, I know x is 2, so 2 minus 2y equals 6. Minus a 2 on both sides, which is going to give you 6 minus 2, which is a 4. And then when you divide up by the negative 2 on both sides, y equals negative 2. So your solution is a 2, negative 2. So now go ahead and respond to this part right here. Which do you think was the easiest? I said elimination because both equations are in standard form. And I thought the hardest one was probably by graphing because you have to solve for y on both of the equations and neither of them was solved. All right, you guys. So we are done with the 3 examples and let's go ahead and do a little bit of additional practice. So what I would like you guys to do right now is you should have had this entire thing filled out. If you haven't, make sure you do. Then I want you guys to go ahead and answer the following questions here. Show your work below. If you are not quite sure how to do that, do you see the work that I have included on the bottom? Your exit ticket for today is right here. Make sure you fill that part out in green. And if you would like some additional practice with extra credit, I do have two of these questions right here that is on elimination. And all you're going to do is you're going to match the questions to the answers right here. You can show your work on a separate piece of paper. And our last thing that I would like you to do is we are going to go to the Quizlet and do a little bit of additional practice online. So go back to our breakdown. Go ahead and type this green link into your browser. Be careful of the capital K. Everything else is lowercase. And once you do that, it's going to take you to the Quizlet, which is right here. And it's going to ask you a series of questions. There are 12, and it's multiple choice, and make sure you answer them. So the first question says, so which one do you think this would be? And then if you get the right answer, click on it, and you should have that. All right, you guys. I just realized I didn't share this with you guys. So hold on a second. You couldn't see this. So once you click on the Quizlet, this is what you should have. Sorry, I just went over the question by myself. I just realized you guys couldn't answer yet. And then just answer them by clicking on the right question to the right answer. All right, you guys, have a wonderful week. I'll talk to you guys next time. As always, stay safe and healthy. Take care.